Hello, my name is Greg, and welcome to This Flippin' Furniture. I recently purchased a sit-stand desk. There's one problem that all standing desks have, and that is the lack of drawers and storage space. I really want to have a standing desk, but I needed to store more stuff than what the typical standing desk allows for. So I fixed the storage problem on this furniture flip, and let me show you how I did it. You're going to make these in the carry style doors. So far all the drawers are in good shape. Probably never really showed you my drawings that I do before I do them off camera. Here it is. I thought about trimming them maybe about in half and then gluing the walnut face front onto that, but then we're going to have a different appearance in the wood, and I don't want that. If I can get it started and get a chisel in there to pop it out. So I have a digital gauge there, and I just checked the 90 degrees to the table. And walnut isn't real hard on the Jenga scale, but that's still a thick piece of wood, so it's always best just to go nice and slow, make sure you're safe. And in order to get these beveled cuts on these drawer fronts, I put about a 73-degree angle on the table saw blade. So you have your 73 degree, and then you just set your distance on the fence for your table saw. And this jig here, if I had to choose a jig to keep for my table saw, it would be a tough choice between this one and the crosscut sled. And some of you know I used to do a lot more woodworking than furniture flipping. So with this little jig for the table saw, you can do all kinds of things with just this simple little jig and a table saw. And if you look at the top left side of the screen, this is a box that I made a couple of years ago using the exact same method that I'm building these drawer fronts with. And these are really very easy to build. You just measure what you need, maybe add a 1/4 inch to it so you can have room for sanding in that. And then you just clamp that drawer front on, rotating the board each time in order to have an equal bevel all the way around that door front. And it turns out to be a really nice drawer. And on this piece right here, I'm just kind of honing in how wide that flat part of the drawer will be. So you can adjust that in two different ways. One by lowering the angle on the saw blade, and then the other way is just moving your table saw fence just a little bit wider, and that will also drastically increase that flat part of the drawer front. All right, the weather's gotten nicer, and we got a nice tight fit. You want to baste this with just a little bit of butter, and then you're going to add just a pinch of salt. Just a pinch of salt, get it all the way around there. And that's going to keep that from moving around while you get your clamps on it. You want to keep that all right, we're gonna lather this one up with some butter also. Another pinch of salt. Where's my other spacer? Fell in the drawer. I took that middle drawer out so I could get some tension on this. With that sod on there, it keeps it from sliding. All right, we'll let those cook for a little while. Do you mind if I get out of this silly apron? Thank you. I'm gonna go ahead and get started on these second drawers. I don't know how I want to do this bottom yet. While I think about that, I'm just gonna go ahead and get these drawers done. My constant reminder, do not try to get it correct on the first cut, because inevitably you come up short. I don't have my apron. How am I going to put the salt on there? It's always good to make sure you get plenty of glue on these sides so you're not pulling directly on here, especially with the way these are put together. You look, this piece will pull right out. You want to get good glue coverage on these side pieces. And a pinch of salt. This is tight bond too. It sets up pretty quick. And I like to wait till it gets just a little bit tacky where it'll not slide around so much. No Casper out there causing a fit. That glue's a little thicker. I'm going to give that a couple of minutes. I have my measurements figured out. I have to leave enough room in here to sit when I'm sitting, which probably won't be very often. But my desk inside is 58 inches long, and I want it to be a little bit longer. Then my actual desk is going to be about 65 and a half inches. I have a 3/4 inch sheet of plywood over here. Actually, I might be able to get the whole top out of this. What I'm going to do is separate the part of the desk that I want lifted. I'll have to notch out there to where the legs can telescopically rise up through that board. I think all that'll work. What I want to do is get these sanded down so I don't have to flip the whole desk when I go to sand them. Rubber cement. I think when it's all said and done, it'll have better adhesion to it. Whoops, I forgot that was there and I walked right on it. My feet got real heavy. Trying to get all the air pockets out of here. I'm going to get this on a flat surface. The actual lift or the stand part of the desk is 34 inches. And this is, well, basically 65. What I'm hoping is I'm going to glue that onto here so when I lift that back, you won't see through the desk. Now, that's just a plan. I don't know if it'll work. Time will tell with that. I've made plans once or twice and they not work out before, so who knows? Okay, so we got our plan, what we're going to do. I think I need to take about a 1/4 inch off of this. I turned the PSI down. I probably turned it down too much. All right, we're gonna let that dry for a couple hours and get it sanded. Okay, we're ready to get this thing painted. I'm gonna go ahead and show you me starting to paint this, but I painted the entire piece before I realized that I bought the wrong color paint. It actually worked out pretty good. And this technique that I'm using, it's not difficult. You just have to know what you want in your finished look. And I prefer a really heavy coat of shellac. If you have never sprayed this particular shellac, it comes out in a really fine mist and lays on nice. I actually took a chisel and gouged up that hole that it sprays out of. I sprayed that shellac on almost to where it would puddle up and then mixed that spray paint in with that heavy coat of shellac. And it does this weird thing with the paint, but it looks good. On the screen here, you see a close-up of what that looks like. I'm going to turn this desk around. I think I want to get this put in before I move forward. I want to get this together and then I'll figure out how I need to cut the top of my desk. I will put these on top of the part that's actually going to lift. Have you ever just stared at something hoping that the reality is not really what it is? It was actually quite funny how long I just stared at that desk. All right, if you look, and you don't have to look that closely, how wide the base to the stand part of the desk is compared to how wide I have under my desk, you'll see there's no way that's gonna fit. I think I might make a piece so it's narrower than that. I think I just tried distracting myself while I was trying to figure out what to do with this problem that I've made. So including this, it's 1.25 inches. That's almost 3/4. Yeah, I don't want these on there. And right here, I'm acting like I just figured it out, but that was really only because I figured out a plan to fix the problem. Houston, we have a problem. So here it is time to disassemble everything. All right, the plan here is there's this black support piece that I'm cutting right now. That holds the two legs together. And then there's this shaft or this gear that rotates to raise the telescopic legs up or down. That had to be cut about 1.25 inches longer, and that allowed for that shaft to get into the housing on each of the legs. And here I have just 180 grit sandpaper cleaning off the burrs on that shaft. give that a few minutes to dry, and then we'll get our holes drilled. I thought I had about 4 or 5 pair of scissors out here. I always find making templates much easier than measuring. Oh, look here. Here's my. All right. Hopefully this will fit now. Okay, so that fits. So we have the 3/4 inch plywood, which by itself would lift that. But we're gonna do a little bit more than that. I'm gonna build my own stretchers that go across to lift that. We're gonna make them about a 1/2 inch thick. So that's next on the list. I actually have this piece of walnut. That'll do the trick. So I just need it wide enough to rest on that. And that's 3/4, so I got to plane a little bit of that off, but not a problem. So we'll make these 1 7/8 inches. What we're gonna have to do is cut a spot for these telescopic posts to come up through, and they're going to grab a hold of this, and then the vinyl part of the desk will raise. So we should be good. So I estimated it to be, I needed about 17 inches, so this is clearly more than that. So it's about 19 and a half. I don't want these sticking out the back to stub my toe on it. How are we gonna mark that? Gonna put that over the top. Hopefully that'll leave a mark in there. I think I'll just cut that whole middle out and then don't have to worry about it. I'll have plenty of room to wiggle it back and forth in there. Okay, give that a few minutes to dry. I'm gonna make them out of walnut, but we'll see. These edges turned out pretty good. I'll do a round over on this, so we got a good straight even edge. And then the dreaded bottom drawers. So here they are. I've been debating on what to do with them. So I think I'm gonna go with one piece and just extend the beveled edge a little bit. So I'll make these a little thicker so I can get a better angle on it. And if I don't like it, I can always redo it. All right. Had to take a couple of days off for work. 14 and an 8, 14 and a half. 14 and a quarter, 14 and a half. So it comes a little bit that way. Okay, so both of these are 15-inch pieces on here. I'm not sanding these down real well. In fact, I just ran this through the planer, and I'm going to keep this side with the cracks and the defect from my loose blade. I'm going to keep that exposed to give it a little bit of that industrial. All right, let me show you what I did here. I just ran this back side through the table saw, and I left enough of a lip on there to cover this. And what I did, I just cut this at a rough angle. I notched that out, so we'll have a decent fit, and I'm gonna paint this, so I wasn't too precise on cutting these out, but I'm gonna glue that down, fill the gaps with some putty. I'm just putting a slight angle to the bottom. I don't care if it comes out at the bottom. I don't want it to come through this. And nails do funny things. And then I'll round all them corners off. That'll look pretty good. We're gonna router that out and make it look a little neater. This line doesn't have to be precise because we can fill it with putty before we paint it. Okay, I made those 1.25 inches from the table lift, so I'm gonna cut some 1-inch strips. Okay, gonna have a little bit of an aligning problem here, but we should be able to get it without much problem. So I've got to get this all laid out and assemble it inside where it's gonna be set up. So let's see. This might be easier than I first thought it was going to be. Those are famous last words. Because I don't want to carry the desk with that on there. So I don't see why I can't. Because these are the pieces that are supposed to go on the top of that. So I've got a pattern right there. I don't know, I kind of like that elevated look. It actually is a built-in ergonomic pad, and I rounded that edge over. I think I'm doing some final cleaning. That's just water that I'm using to clean off the top of that surface. And I'm spraying the shellac. If you haven't sprayed this particular shellac before, it sprays really nice in a fine mist that is designed to be a finish coat. So I took a little chisel and I kind of marred up the hole where that sprays out of, and it caused that shellac to spray unevenly, and that's what I wanted. I wanted the shellac to almost pool up, and then I would spray and mix in the spray paint on top of that, and it gives it this really cool look that I was aiming for. There's more expensive ways to get this metallic look. I didn't want to spend that much on just the finish for this, so I did something like this similar on a much smaller project a couple of years ago, and I really liked how it turned out. Okay, sorry about the bad lighting in here. I don't have everything hooked up yet, but we have our lift part of the desk, so now is the time where we hope that everything, all the measurements turned out correctly. So what we're hoping for is this to be able to lift up through the top. Look at there, we made it. Okay, so these pieces I pre-drilled. Okay, we managed to get the first part measured correctly. Let's see how we did on this one. That's pretty cool. Take this to the back side. I'll show you what we're doing. Trying to make sure this will fall down into. That worked out pretty good. So it looks like we're scraping on this side just a little bit, but you see that's all the wiggle room we have, so I've put some I had some overspray there, I missed the spot. We'll get that cleaned up, but I think the desk turned out pretty nice. I'll get some better lighting in here, and though I don't think it needs it, I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on that just to hold it in place. I don't want any squeeze out here. There, that 5-piece mixing bowl set came in perfect. Okay, we'll let that set up overnight, and then I'll get some better lighting in here and get the drawers in, and this thing will be done. Okay. Okay, we've got our surge compressor. I have my desk complete. I really like the finish on it. What? No chair? Here's the other side of my spray paint only finish. But wait, I guess I'll have to work like this. That's gonna get my knees sore unless I press this little arrow up button. And what does that do? My. Look at there. We have ourselves a sit-stand desk. Now, 117 was the height that I liked it at. So there, we have ourselves a standing desk. Kind of a apothecary style. That one's heavy, that's got a lot of books in it. I have my cable management coming, so I'll get those cables all straightened out. I really like how it turned out. Show you how that works. We can sit or we can stand. Where the mouse works all through there. Drawers are nice. And I have a little lip here, and this is tucked over top so this leather won't ever come up. There's my Marine Corps flag. The next part of my office makeover will be to paint this shelf. But I've got a few more projects I need to get done before I paint that. So for now, I would just like to thank you for watching. Thanks for watching.